So Donald Trump was on a segment of Fox and Friends today where he was talking about New York schools and how he would fix the ailing New York school system, etc., and what he would do there. Um, and his solution, starting off with, he would cut the Department of Education, cut it down to one person and a secretary, just to make sure they're teaching English. But he would cut the entire Department of Education, kick it back to the states to make the decisions for what's being taught. Well, that's already the case. The Department of Education does not set federal curriculum. That's up to individual states. But he'd do that. Most of the Department of Education involves college grants and financial aid and making sure that learning is accessible to everybody in the country. But Donald Trump doesn't care about that. And then he went on to say again that the next thing he would do is no transgenders, no operations. You know, you send your little boy off to school without parental consent, comes back a girl. He thinks public schools have the funding to do operations, major operations, without one, just in general, that they have those funding. These schools are underfunded. That's what they're asking about. They need more funding to fund these schools to help them do everything they need to do. They can't pay teachers enough. They can't do this. They can't do that. They don't have new enough books. But they somehow have money in their budget for operations. This man is delusional and he's unhinged. But he keeps repeating this because he's hoping that is some kind of a rallying cry that will rally up enough people to his side that they will just believe what he's saying about schools doing operations and go from there. I mean, I haven't been in school in like 20 plus years, but even what I remember from being in school, it was hard to even get a Tylenol back then if you had something going on. You couldn't do that. You couldn't even carry cough drops if you had a cough. And he thinks that schools have the ability to, do an operation. This man is delusional. He's unhinged. He's saying whatever he wants. Part of his base eats it up. But after this election, when he loses and he loses big, these news stations that have been airing this stuff without fact checking him, they're going to have a reckoning. Now, I've already said I think Fox is going to slowly trying to shift back to being that fair and balanced. And I think they will. I think they will try to separate themselves after the election, but the damage is done. But the fact is that they air these things. If this was a pre-recorded event, it never should have seen the light of day. It just shouldn't. If they were reasonable people at Fox and they were serious about being any sort of a news organization, it wouldn't have seen the light of day. But they're not news, they're entertainment. Donald Trump is unhinged. He's making stuff up. It's dangerous. And some people actually believe him because they believe that he must know something because he was the former president, that he must know something the general public doesn't. Maybe he saw a briefing or something. That's not the case. He's literally just making stuff up and lying to you because he knows you're going to believe it and that you're that gullible. So Donald Trump thinks the way to fix public schools is to get rid of the Department of Education and prevent them from doing surgeries that they're not doing in the first place. Sounds like a typical Republican strategy going into this election, making a problem out of something that isn't actually happening.